following the devastating inferno that gutted Afriland Towers, a 6-story commercial building on Broad Street, Lagos Island on Tuesday. 6 additional victims were confirmed dead yesterday by United Capital, bringing the death toll from the initial 4 on the day of the fire to 10. The Federal Fire Service has since announced a nationwide fire safety compliance audit following the tragedy. The incident was one of 2 separate fires that rocked the Lagos Island Business District on Tuesday. The second blaze at Emab Plaza, a 4-story building behind Mandela's, destroyed at least 200 shops and claimed 1 life. Although the exact cause is yet to be confirmed, Permanent Secretary of the Lagos State Urban Development, Bolaon Oki, attributed the incident to illegal market structures and warned traders to desist from such practices. Comptroller General of the Federal Fire Service, Samuel Olumode, also announced the rollout of a fire safety compliance task force. The team will audit public and private buildings, enforce standards, sanction offenders, and train facility managers. He says the initiative is intended to shift the service from a reactive approach to a culture of prevention and accountability.
Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi have in separate messages expressed their condolences. Join us now to discuss this event is health, safety, and environmental expert Jeremiah Ayebatonye. A warm welcome to you and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Thank you, y'all.
Now, we all witnessed what happened on that dark Tuesday in Lagos. From your perspective, what immediate safety lapses the incidents like the Afriland Towers and Emab Plaza reveal in some of this commercial buildings? From what you've seen so far, where do you think they dropped the ball?
First of all, my heart goes out to all who lost their loved ones in this unfortunate fire incident. It is one too many. And also with other incidents that also happened at that Mandela's. My thoughts are with them this trying period. First, when I first of all saw the video, what first came to my mind was poor building designs. That's about an 8-story buildings. Buildings like that need to have an external staircase. That if there's an emergency, someone don't need to pass through where they came through, the normal route. They could come behind an external staircase, come behind the building, and everybody will walk out safely without any injury or incident happening to anybody. Then, secondly, if you look at this, the way the buildings are there in Lagos Island, you will notice that they are very too close. The way the buildings are there. So if there's any incident or any fire incident, it can easily just move from one spot to the next building, putting it a risk for all of us. Then we'll not come back to that Afriland fire again. We ask ourselves some questions. What is their emergency response plans? Do they even have an emergency response plans? How often do they conduct drills? What is their fire risk assessment on that building? Then, do they have competent personnel that man that building for them if there's an emergency? If they have done all this for now, what we are talking about will not really happen. I still remember in that Lagos Island, there's this fire station that is there, Union Bank. I also know that in one of the zonal fire stations in Lagos, it's at campus, zonal. Yes, that place campus. But in that particular street, they have one fire station, Union Bank fire stations. How did they respond to it? These are things we should also be looking at so that incidents like this should be prevented and knowledge we learn from this should be passed on to everybody so that issues like this should not be coming up again. This is becoming a recurring incident that we lost money, goods, even individuals now on fire.
Well, I mean, it really is a sad thing. Like you said, our condolences go to the people who have lost loved ones. The Federal Fire Service has announced a nationwide audit. I wanted to ask how much impact you think this exercise can realistically have in preventing future fires.
It will have, it will be a follow-up. It is not just to look at it critically today, have meeting, do a round table on it, and then everybody goes their separate ways. Then it happens again. No, if there is proper supervision, if there is proper follow-up, we'll have the result that we are talking about. As a professional, it is painful to find out that we are losing people on incident that is preventable. That is one thing as professionals, when we looked at it critically, these things are preventable. They are avoidable deaths. It is not something that should be happening to us again. Even if it's happening, what are the emergency response system to contain it so that it won't spread? That's one of the things we are looking at.
Now, you did talk about the geography and the structures of that area has been highly clustered. Illegal structures now are being blamed for the Emab Plaza fire. What practical steps can government and traders take to reduce risk of to reduce this fire risk without crippling livelihoods? Because most times when you think of solutions in Nigeria, it's often one-track minded. You ban, you stop, or you evict, or you destroy. What creative means could we use to sustain the history of that area? And if you go around the world, there are also clustered markets like that in Vietnam, in different parts of the world, but without, by reducing the risk of a fire, what can the government do creatively to stop fires in those sorts of areas?
First, you said they are illegal structures, so government knows what to do to illegal structures. But secondly, training. When persons are properly trained on how to handle issues like this, they will know what to do. The fire service should not be there just when there's a fire, they rush down there and they try to fight fire. They should also designate some persons to do fire prevention. How often do they go to the market to enlighten people on the dangers on fire? How often do they identify hazard in the course of their operations that this thing can bring fire to us? And if we don't take these steps, it is going to bring big huge problem for us and also to the country. So these are the things I expect the fire service to also do, and also the government. Enlighten people more, educate them. When you educate people, they know what to do. Even if you look at that, I've been there sometimes before now, you hardly even see a fire extinguisher in that facility. Now, how do you expect when there's a fire, what's the first step to take? And like you said, navigating to that place, it's not easy. But when we train persons what to do, it becomes practical for them to take the first step even before the fireman comes. So I will keep emphasizing that we train, we evaluate our training and train again.
Okay, so now let's talk about individuals. You've talked about trainings, but there are houses, people who own high-rise buildings that house thousands of workers and traders. What are the preliminary caution steps that every building owner and occupant should be doing right now to improve fire safety?
First thing they need to do, like I said, if we check that building critically, they have no emergency exit route, no means of escape. That kind of high-rise building should have an external escape route where they could just come out easy. Like if you watch that video critically, you notice that they were breaking the windows. So instead of breaking the windows, they have an emergency exit on that spot to just take them out first. Then secondly, every organization should work on its emergency response plan. Now, when you're doing your emergency response plan, you can also do drill, probably because it is an office, it's not like a depot or a petroleum facility where you're expected to do drill on a monthly basis. They can be doing quarterly drills. One thing this drill will do is that it will help them to know the right thing to do. Just imagine somebody was jumping up from that place and you notice what it cost. Jumping from like third floor. When there are emergency drills, they know what to do. When you're able to identify the hazard in that building, they also know what to do. Then another thing again is you can connect with the nearest fire station. Now, when this fireman comes, for instance, and they want to put out the fire, what do you think they will do? Do they understand your building very well? When you have a competent person in that facility, what he will do is that he will be the one to lead, to guide the firemen as they get into the building and prevent this from. But in all, like I will always say, they need training. Everybody needs fire training. Not just only fire training. Medical emergency happens too. These are things that as a nation, as individuals, we should really look at.
Now, the Lagos State government said they will form a task force and hopefully they would get into this training. But let's look at the building code. I mean, for a modern building like that and a high-rise building, shouldn't it, I find it very hard to believe that there weren't sprinkler systems or emergency exits in that building. We'll wait to see the report of the Lagos State Fire Service inquiry on what happened, so I don't want to preempt that. But I mean, from a logical point of view, and I know we don't live in a lawless society, we understand there's a Lagos State, there's LABCA, Lagos State Building Code Authority, that gives approval for buildings, and you have to go through several paperwork. And for you to erect such a structure, you most definitely have fire exits and sprinkler systems. How do we make sure that these codes are enforced? For example, if you drive around Lagos and you're stopped by, or anywhere in the country, by the Federal Road Safety Corps, they will ask you for your fire extinguisher. So why don't we have that when it comes to, why don't we see a serious enforcement when it comes to buildings and commercial buildings, residential buildings in all parts of the country?
The fire service has the regulatory powers to do that. It will be good if they look at that. Go to facilities, inspect their firefighting equipment. Do they even have fire extinguishers? Do they have hose reels to connect with water? Do they have their emergency equipment? Basic fire extinguisher, your CO2, your DCP, and the rest of them. Like you said, sprinklers, it's not there. Even if these things are there, how effective is it? I stay around the sometimes you go around like in Agbo, there are places you go to in Agbo, even the hydrant that's there. You notice that some market women have installed stores there and they start selling things. Meanwhile, that hydrant is expected to take water. It does an emergency in that neighborhood to assist the firemen. So what they also need to do, an external audit. Go to these buildings, assess it. You have your checklist. What and what is expected of this? If they have those things, we'll be seeing lesser of these fire incidents in our country, and especially these are Lagos State.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing less of these fire incidents happening in Lagos State, and we extend our condolences to those who have lost loved ones from this fire outbreak. But thank you so much for joining us. I think a final question would be, I go to a number of events and we hear them have this safety announcements and this safety brief read to the audience. I also worry about, even we as individuals, our personal knowledge of how to put out fires. So how can we incorporate it more beyond saying house owners and building owners should have exits? As individuals, if a fire were to break out, a number of people maybe don't even know how to make use of the fire extinguishers or to know if they are expired. So how can we factor this into basic knowledge that every Nigerian can have and should have?
We know that even today, YouTube is even lecturing us on so many things. Some of us can just go to YouTube, how to use a basic education. Like, let's say, for instance, PASS. That acronym PASS can be used. And like you said, organizations too should take it as a need. Individuals too should make it as a need to lecture themselves on how to first prevent fire from happening. Because fire don't just happen. Something must have caused it. So if we can prevent fire from happening, then the second thing is use basic extinguisher. Extinguisher is one of the simplest things to use. I'm not saying it probably because I'm a professional, but because if we are trained on how to use it, it is very simple. And let me observe something. If we can use it at that particular time, it will prevent an inferno from happening.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Jeremiah Ayebatonye. Thank you for your time with us this morning.
Thank you.